Welcome back to Arsenal News TV, and today we're going to do the Arsenal player ratings versus Norwich and look at how the Gunners got on individually in their Premier League fixture against Norwich at the Emirates. So the first person on the list is the goalkeeper, and it is in the form of Aaron Ramsdale. It was perhaps a surprise choice over Bernd Leno for this Premier League encounter, but just justified with a decent display. A nice moment to Cruyff turn away from pressure by Teemu Pukki in the first half showed the ability on the ball that he has been brought in for. And I think Aaron Ramsdale has done very well in terms, especially because he didn't have much to do in terms of his goalkeeping, but in terms of his playing out from the back, in terms of making sure he does look like a goalkeeper, and he gets a 7 for his performance. So the next person on the list is Takehiro Tomiyasu, a very promising debut from the Japanese international who often stayed deep as Arsenal attacked. He won plenty of aerial duels and looked tidy enough in possession, despite the occasional loose touch which will be put down to nerves. A nice volleyed effort on the stroke of half-time showed some attacking threat too, and I think he suits very well in that right back position. Hopefully Mikel Arteta continues to play him and he gets a 7 for his performance. Next up, we got Ben White, and it was a really confident display on the ball from the England international, who played some lovely balls in behind, hardly tested in the air due to Teemu Pukki's stature, so it will be interesting to see how he gets on against Burnley next week. But there was a moment where I seen him struggling aerially once again, but hopefully that is something that Arsenal are able to work on and realise that is a weakness of his, and make sure Gabriel can do those physicality duels. But for his performance he deserves a 7. Next up, we got Gabriel Magalhaes, a really confident return from the Brazilian who looks imperious for the most part. Should be said that he was hardly tested, but the Arsenal back four looks so much secure with him back in it. And I think him and Ben White partnership is something that we do want to see as Arsenal fans, and I think he looked very good in that position. He looks like someone that is very tall, very physical, very predominant, and someone that the strikers must fear of, as he looks like a top centre-back, and he gets a 7 for his performance. Next up, we got Kieran Tierney. The usual trick of diving into the byline and whipping in crosses from the left worked well for most of the part. Not really enough men in the box to take advantage though, and it was just a decent performance by Kieran Tierney. He did do what he needs to do in terms of the left back position. He's given the freedom to go bomb out forward, and that is something that we realised he is able to do. But I do want to see some passage of different play in Kieran Tierney, maybe cut inside and try to go for a shot like he did against West Brom once, and he gets a 6 for his performance. Next up, we got Ainsley MaitlandNiles, and he had some really nice disguised balls in behind during the second half to get in behind the Norwich defence. A decent display from the England international in his preferred position, and then good versatility after Takehiro Tomiyasu went off to switch to right back. And when it comes to the likes of Ainsley MaitlandNiles, he clearly shows that he is going to play under Mikel Arteta, even in that midfield role, which I think he did do very well in, and he did do the basic duties well, and he gets a 7 for his performance. Next up, we got Albert Sambi Lokonga, tidy enough in possession with a few nice balls forward, less backwards and sideways than those who have come before him, but a bit more incisiveness will hopefully come with time. And he still remember that he's a very young lad, he's only 21 years old, and he's someone that has a lot of pressure on him at a very young age, and that also every player has a lot of pressure. That is something that we realise, but for his performance today, it's fair to say he deserves a 6. Next up, we got Marth Renngaard. An exquisite second home debut for the Norwegian international who set the tone of Arsenal's play throughout. Some beautiful balls over the top for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and lovely switches of play that ran the Norwich defence ragged. And that one ball that he did for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I was really impressed. That is something that hopefully Mikel Arteta will be able to get more out of in terms of Marth Renngaard. But a very good performance by Renngaard, and for his performance he deserves an 8. Next up, we got Nicolas Pepe, and probably Arsenal's most consistent threat throughout the game, and his sheer force of will was crucial for the goal. He showed some nice moments of defensive awareness to cover Tomiyasu. He looks to finally be growing in stature with the Gunners setup, and now with a very good right back in the form of Tomiyasu, he is able to do the defensive duties well and allow Nicolas Pepe the freedom to try and do what he does best, and I really thought he was himself in the first half because he was getting past that defence, he was doing skills, and he gets a 7 for his performance. Next up, we got Bukayo Saka. He had some nice moments to turn away from opposition defenders and had some good chances early doors in the second half. He was slightly quiet by the standards, but still a decent display. If it wasn't for his shot when he did have a chance where he had an opportunity and then Nicolas Pepe had another chance to slot it in, and it was a brilliant defence by Brendan Williams to clear that ball out and a very good last ditch tackle. But Saka was a little bit quieter when compared to the other attackers, but for his performance it's fair to say he deserves a 6. Next up, we got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Time and again, the Gabon forward got in behind for what looked to be a thankless task. Eventually thought it paid off as he taps in on the line, letting out a visible fist bump of relief to have broken his Premier League duck for the season. And when it comes to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he is someone that looks like that striker role is his, and hopefully he can now start to score some more and more goals. He does have a lot of chances with him now, and now it's time for him to create and score, and he gets a 7 for his performance. Now moving into the substitutes, we first got Thomas Partey, and he was given the task of more or less manning the Arsenal midfield on his own, with Mikel Arteta's changes what took it too well. Was a surprise he didn't start this time, and will be an even one if he doesn't, bigger one if he doesn't start next week. And next week as a game is going to be very physical, and hopefully he doesn't get any more injuries. I really do pray that he doesn't get any more injuries. Yes, he looks a little bit injury prone in an Arsenal shirt, but for his performance today he deserves a 6. Next up, we got Emile Smith-Rowe. The England under-21 international showed the urgency Arsenal needed to drive the team forward after coming on in the second half. A good cameo for a player who was unlucky not to be starting. And when it comes to Emile Smith-Rowe, I think he has shown that he is able to get that ball, drive and create something, and that's something I love about Emile Smith-Rowe. Maybe giving Mikel Arteta the option to try and play Ødegaard in a deeper role and making that number 10 role Emile Smith-Rowe's, and for his performance he deserves a 6. Finally, we got Cedric Soares, and he came on too late to influence the game, so he doesn't deserve a rating. But overall, it was a decent performance by the Gunners. Also, hopefully are able to kick on from this game now and start to gain some momentum and start to show some positive results under Mikel Arteta.